The phone rang at 2 a.m., shattering the silence of a cold Texas night. Elon Musk, the man who dreams of Mars, sat bolt upright in bed, his heart racing. Who calls at this hour? Not a reporter, not a business partner? Something felt wrong. He grabbed the phone, squinting at the screen. The name glowing in the dark stopped him cold. Kimball Musk, his brother. A name he hadn't seen in too long. Elon's bedroom was dark, the only light coming from the faint glow of city lights sneaking through the curtains. Outside, Austin slept under a blanket of frost. Inside, Elon's world was a whirlwind of plans. Rockets to launch, cars to build, a future to shape. On his nightstand sat a half-read book about space travel, a glass of water, and a photo of his kids, their smiles frozen in time. He rubbed his eyes, tired from another late night at SpaceX. His mind never stopped. Tesla deadlines loomed. Starlink needed fixes. The weight of the world pressed on his shoulders. But family, that was a weight he hadn't felt in years. Kimball? Elon's voice was rough, still thick with sleep. What's wrong? A shaky breath came through the phone. Elon, I didn't want to call. I'm sorry. Kimball's voice cracked, like he was fighting to hold something back. I didn't know who else to turn to. Elon sat up straighter, his stomach twisting. Kimball, his little brother, always the cheerful one, sounded broken. They hadn't spoken in months, maybe a year. Time blurred when you were chasing stars. Growing up in South Africa, they'd been close, building dreams in a rickety treehouse under a wide African sky. Kimball was the dreamer with a heart too big for his own good, always helping others, while Elon built computers from scraps. But life had pulled them apart. Elon became a name the world knew. Kimball? He stayed in the shadows, chasing smaller. Dreams, restaurants, farms, a life of his own. Where are you? Elon asked, his voice sharp with worry. He could hear wind whistling in the background, like Kimball was outside. Somewhere cold, somewhere alone. I'm in Denver, Kimball said, his words barely above a whisper. In my truck. It's all I've got left. Elon's breath caught. What do you mean, all you've got left? A long silence stretched between them. Elon could almost see Kimball, his broad shoulders hunched, his kind eyes tired. I lost it all, Elon, Kimball finally said. The restaurant, the house, everything, I'm broke. I've been sleeping in my truck for a week. The words hit Elon like a punch. His brother, homeless, sleeping in a truck? How had he not known? Guilt clawed at him. He was the richest man, alive, building empires, while Kimball was out there, alone, too proud to ask for help. Elon's mind flashed back to their childhood. Kimball sharing his last sandwich when their parents fought. Kimball laughing to make Elon feel safe. When had Elon stopped checking on him? When had success become more important than his own brother? Kimball, why didn't you tell me? Elon's voice was softer now, almost a plea. I could have helped. I can help now. I didn't want to be that guy, Kimball said, his voice shaking, the one who needs his famous brother to fix his mess. I thought I could handle it. I thought... He stopped, like the words were too heavy to say. Elon stood, pacing the cold floor. His bare feet felt the chill, but his mind was racing hotter than a rocket engine. He pictured Kimball in a beat-up truck, parked in some dark lot, the windows fogged with cold. How had it come to this? His brother, who once dreamed of feeding the world with his restaurants, now had nothing. Elon's heart ached with a feeling he hadn't let himself feel in years. Fear. Fear that he'd lost something more important than any company. Kimball, where are you right now? Exact address, Elon said, already grabbing his jacket. I'm coming to you. You don't have to, Kimball started, but his voice wavered. Elon, there's something else. Something I haven't told you, something big. Elon froze, his hand on the door. What is it? he asked, his voice barely steady. The line went quiet again, the wind howling through the phone. What was Kimball hiding? And why did it feel like this secret was about to change everything? Elon's rental car sped through the snowy Denver streets, the wipers slapping against the windshield. The GPS barked directions, but his mind was louder, screaming with questions. Kimball, homeless, living in a truck? And what was this something big? He couldn't say over the phone? The cold bit at Elon's knuckles as he gripped the steering wheel. He hadn't slept, hadn't stopped to think. He just moved, driven by a guilt that burned hotter than any rocket fuel. The hospital parking lot was dark, lit only by flickering streetlights. Elon scanned the rows of cars, his breath fogging in the freezing air. There, a beat-up blue truck. Its windows iced over. His heart sank. Kimball was in there, alone. Elon parked and ran toward it, his boots crunching snow. He tapped the window. "Kimball, it's me." The door creaked open and Kimball stepped out, his face pale, his eyes red. He wore a thin jacket, too small for the cold, and a baseball cap, pulled low. "You came," Kimball whispered, like he couldn't believe it. "You actually came." "Of course I came." Elon's voice cracked. He wanted to hug his brother, but something stopped him. Shame, maybe, or the weight of years. Apart. Kimball looked older, thinner, like life had carved away the boy who used to laugh in their treehouse. "Why didn't you tell me things were this bad?" Kimball looked at his boots, snow sticking to the laces. "What was I supposed to say?" "Hey, Elon, your failure of a brother needs a bailout. You're out there changing the world. I didn't want to drag you down." "You're not a failure," Elon snapped, louder than he meant. "You're my brother." But the words felt hollow. When was the last time he'd acted like a brother? When was the last time he'd even called? A security guard rounded the corner, flashlight bouncing. "Hey, no loitering," he shouted. "I told you yesterday, you can't sleep here." Kimball's face flushed. "Please, just one more night." "Rules are rules." The guard cut him off, then squinted at Elon. "Who's this guy?" "My brother," Kimball mumbled, eyes on the ground. The guard's face softened, just a fraction. "Look, I don't want trouble, but you gotta move the truck. Now." Elon stepped forward, his voice sharp. "He's coming with me. We're leaving." He grabbed Kimball's arm, guiding him toward the rental car. Kimball hesitated, glancing back at his truck, a dented, rusted shell holding everything he had left. "I got a bag," he said quietly, pulling a small duffel from the passenger seat. One bag. That's all his life had become. They drove in silence to a hotel downtown, its warm lights a stark contrast to the icy lot they'd left. The Boer lobby gleamed with marble and chandeliers, but Kimball shuffled in, head down like he didn't belong. "This is too much," he whispered. "I don't need fancy." "Let me worry about that," Elon said, handing his card to the clerk. But inside, his mind churned. How had he missed this? His brother scraping by while Elon's name was on magazine covers. He thought of their childhood, Kimball's voice in the dark. "We'll always be brothers, right?" Elon had promised. But promises break when you stop showing up. In the hotel room, Kimball sat on the edge of the bed, staring. At his hands, Elon paced, the carpet muffling his steps. "Kimball, talk to me. What happened? The restaurant, the house. How did it all fall apart?" Kimball's jaw tightened. "Bad luck. Bad choices. The restaurant tanked when the economy crashed. I took loans to keep it going, but..." He shook his head. "The bank took the house last month. I thought I could fix it, Elon. I didn't want to be the guy who runs to you." Elon's chest ached. "You're not that guy. Your family." He sat across from Kimball, searching his brother's face. "But what's this other thing? You said something big." Kimball's eyes darted away like a trapped animal. "Not yet. I can't. Not here." His voice was raw, almost pleading. "It's too much. You'll hate me." Hate you? Elon leaned closer. Kimball, nothing you say could make me hate you. Kimball's hands shook. He opened his mouth, then closed it. A tear slipped down his cheek, catching the light. Elon, I've been keeping something from you. For years. It's not just about me. It's about someone else. Someone you don't even know exists. Elon's blood ran cold. Someone else? Who? His mind raced. Family? A debt? Something worse? Before he could press, Kimball's phone buzzed. On the table. He grabbed it, his face going white. It's Rosa, he said, voice trembling. Our cousin in Cape Town. Elon's heart skipped. Rosa, the woman who'd been like a second mother, always there when their parents fought. What's wrong? Kimball answered, his voice low. Rosa, are you okay? A pause. Then his eyes widened, filling with tears. No. How bad is it? He listened, his free hand gripping the bed. We're coming. Hold on, we're coming. He hung up, staring at Elon, his face a mask of fear. Rosa's in the hospital, cancer. They don't know if she'll make it. Kimball's voice broke. And there's something about her. Something I've been hiding. Something that changes everything. Elon's world tilted. Rosa, dying. And another secret. What was Kimball not saying? As they scrambled to book flights to South Africa, one question burned in Elon's mind. What truth was so big it could break his brother, and maybe him, apart? The plane hummed over the Atlantic, its engines a low drone that couldn't drown out the storm in Elon's head. 18 hours to Cape Town, and every minute felt like a lifetime. Kimball sat beside him, staring out the window at the endless black ocean below. Neither spoke. The air between them was heavy with unspoken words. With secrets Kimball wouldn't share. Elon's hands gripped the armrests, his knuckles white. Rosa was dying. Kimball was broken. And Elon, the man who could solve any problem, felt powerless. The cabin was dim, the only light from the small screen in front of Kimball, flickering with some movie he wasn't watching. Elon's eyes burned from lack of sleep. His phone buzzed. With unread emails, SpaceX updates, Tesla reports, but he ignored them. For the first time in years, none of it mattered. His mind kept replaying Kimball's words in the hotel. Something that changes everything. What could be bigger than Rosa's cancer? What could Kimball be hiding that made his voice shake like that? Elon glanced at his brother, whose face was carved with worry, his fingers twisting the frayed edge of his jacket. The boy who used to make him laugh in their treehouse was gone, replaced by a man carrying a weight Elon couldn't understand. Kimball, Elon said, his voice low. You gotta tell me. What's this secret? I can't help if I don't know. Kimball's jaw tightened. He turned away, his breath fogging the window. Not yet, Elon. I can't. Not until we see Rosa. His voice was raw, like every word hurt. It's too big. You'll look at me differently. Elon's chest tightened. Differently? He wanted to shake Kimball, to demand answers, but the fear in his brother's eyes stopped him. Instead, he leaned back, his mind spiraling. He saw their childhood home in Pretoria, the fights echoing through the walls, Kimball's small hand squeezing his when things got bad. We'll always have each other, Kimball had promised, his 9-year-old voice fierce. But Elon had left, chasing dreams of computers and stars, leaving Kimball to carry their family alone. Now Rosa was slipping away, and Kimball was drowning. And Elon felt like he was failing the only people who ever mattered. The plane landed in Cape Town as dawn broke over Table Mountain. The city sparkled, but it felt wrong, too bright, too alive for the dread in Elon's heart. They rushed to Groot Schuur Hospital, the hallways sterile and cold, the air sharp with antiseptic. Elon's shoes squeaked on the polished floor. each step louder than the last. Room 314 was at the end of the hall. Through the glass, Rosa looked small, fragile, hooked to machines that beeped too slowly. Kimball froze at the door, his hand trembling on the handle. "She's so weak," Kimball whispered. "What if we're too late?" "We're not," Elon said, but his voice shook. He pushed the door open. "Rosa?" Her eyes fluttered open and a faint smile spread across her face. "My boys," she said, her voice a soft rasp. "You came. Together." Tears spilled down her cheeks as she reached for their hands. Elon took one, Kimball the other. Her grip was weak, but it felt like a lifeline. "I'm so sorry, Rosa," Elon said, his throat tight. "I didn't know you were sick. I should have." "Shh," Rosa cut him off. "You're here now. That's enough." Her eyes moved to Kimball, softening. "Kimball, have you told him yet?" Kimball's face crumpled. "Rosa, please, not now." Elon's heart raced. "Told me what?" He looked between them, desperation rising. "What are you both keeping from me?" Rosa squeezed Kimball's hand. "He deserves to know, Kimball. Secrets are heavy. Let this one go." Kimball sank into a chair, his head in his hands. "I can't," he sobbed. "I've messed everything up. I've lost everything, my home, my dreams, and now this. I'm not strong enough to say it." Elon knelt beside him, his own eyes burning. "Kimball, look at me. You're not alone anymore. Whatever it is, we'll face it. Like we used to. Like brothers." Kimball's sobs grew quieter. He lifted his head, his eyes red and raw. "Elon, I've been hiding someone from you. Someone who's been waiting to meet you for 8 years. Someone who calls you Uncle Elon in her dreams." Elon's world stopped. Uncle Elon? His breath caught, his mind racing. A child? Kimball had a child? His brother living in a truck had been raising a kid alone? The weight of it crushed him. Guilt, shock, and a spark of something else. Hope, a niece, family he didn't know he had. But before he could speak, a nurse burst into the room, her face urgent. "Mr. Musk," she said, looking at Elon. "We just got Rosa's test results. It's not good. The cancer's spread. We need to move her to intensive care. Now." Kimball let out a choked cry, and Elon felt the ground drop beneath him. Rosa's hand went limp in his. As the nurses rushed in, machines blaring, one thought screamed in Elon's mind. Who was this child waiting for him? And would they lose Rosa before he could find out? The hospital room buzzed with chaos. Nurses shouting, monitors screaming, wheels screeching as they rushed Rosa's bed toward intensive care. Elon stood frozen, his heart hammering, his mind a tangle of fear and questions. Kimball's words echoed like a siren. "Someone who calls you Uncle Elon in her dreams. A child. A niece, 8 years old, hidden from him all this time. How? Why?" The air felt thick, suffocating, as if the walls were closing in. Kimball slumped. Against the wall, his face buried in his hands, sobbing like a man who'd lost everything twice over. "Kimball!" Elon's voice cut through the noise, sharp and desperate. He grabbed his brother's shoulders, pulling him up. "Who is she? Who's this girl? You can't drop that on me and say nothing." His hands shook, his voice raw with a mix of anger and betrayal. He'd built empires, solved impossible problems, but this secret felt like a knife in his chest. Kimball's eyes met Elon's, red and glistening, full of shame. "Her name's Lila," he whispered, the words barely escaping. "She's my daughter. I never told you I couldn't." He swallowed hard, his voice breaking. "I thought I could handle it alone. I thought I'd be enough for her." Elon staggered back, the words hitting like a shockwave. A daughter. Kimball had a daughter, his niece, 8 years, and he'd never known. His mind flashed to their childhood, Kimball's goofy grin, promising they'd always be a team. How had they drifted so far that Kimball hid a child from him? His throat burned, his eyes stung. "Why didn't you tell me?" he choked out. "I'm your brother. I could have helped. I would have been there." Kimball's head dropped. "I was ashamed, Elon. You were changing the world, and I was failing. Failing her. Failing everything." He pulled a crumpled photo from his pocket, his hands trembling. A little girl with bright eyes, and Kimball's smile stared back, clutching a purple crayon drawing of a rocket. "She loves you," Kimball said, voice barely audible. "She watches your launches on TV, says she wants to be like her uncle Elon." Someday, Elon's heart shattered. He took the photo, his fingers tracing the girl's face. Lila, his niece, a piece of family he didn't know he'd been missing. But the joy of her existence clashed with a crushing guilt. He'd been so consumed by his dreams, Mars, Tesla, the stars, that he'd missed this, missed Kimball's struggle, missed Lila's life. And now Rosa, their anchor, was slipping away, her machines beeping weaker by the second. "Where is she?" Elon demanded, his voice steadying, a fire igniting inside him. "Where's Lila now?" Kimball's face crumpled again. "With a foster family. In Denver. When I lost the house, I couldn't keep her with me. I thought it was temporary, that I'd get her back." He choked on a sob. "But they're saying I'm unfit. They might not give her back, Elon. I might lose her for—" "Good!" The revelation slammed into Elon like a rocket at full thrust. "Lose her?" His niece out there, thinking her father had abandoned her, thinking her uncle didn't care. His chest heaved, his breath shallow. He saw himself at Lila's age, alone in a house full of shouting, Kimball his only comfort. He couldn't let that happen to her. He wouldn't. Anger surged. Anger at Kimball for hiding this, at himself for being absent, at a world that let a little girl slip through the cracks. "No," Elon said, his voice low but fierce. "We're not losing her. Not Lila, not Rosa, not each other." He grabbed Kimball's arm, pulling him toward the door. "We're going back to Denver. Now. We're getting your daughter back." Kimball's eyes widened, fear mixing with a flicker of hope. "Elon, it's not that simple. The system, the courts—" "I don't care about the system," Elon snapped, his voice echoing in the sterile hallway. "I've fought governments, built rockets, changed industries. I'm not letting some paperwork take your kid away." His hands clenched into fists, his mind racing with plans. Lawyers, calls, resources he'd never tapped for family before. "You're her father. She's my niece. We're bringing her home." Kimball stared, tears streaming down his face. But he nodded, a spark of the old Kimball, the fighter, returning. "Okay," he whispered. "Okay, let's do this." As they rushed out of the hospital, Elon's phone buzzed, a text from the doctor. "Rosa's stable for now, but time's short. Hurry back." His heart lurched. They had to save Rosa, had to save Lila, had to save themselves. Elon glanced at Kimball, their eyes locking with a shared resolve they hadn't felt since they were kids dreaming under a Pretoria sky. This was their mission now. No rockets, no empires, just family. And Elon would move heaven and earth to make it right. The Denver courthouse loomed like a fortress, its stone walls cold and unyielding under a gray morning sky. Elon's heart pounded as he and Kimball pushed through the heavy doors, their footsteps echoing in the marble hall. Today was the day. Lila's custody hearing. If they failed, Kimball could lose his daughter forever and Elon would lose a niece he'd only just found. The stakes cut deeper than any rocket launch or billion-dollar deal. This was family, raw and fragile, and it hung by a thread. Inside, the courtroom buzzed with tension. Lawyers shuffled papers. The judge's gavel sat ready, and a social worker stood by with a clipboard, her face blank. Kimball's hands shook as he adjusted his borrowed suit, too stiff for his frame. Elon stood beside him, his jaw tight, his mind racing like an overclocked computer. He'd pulled every string, top lawyers, private investigators, even a call to a senator. But the system didn't bend easily, not even for Elon Musk. Lila was out there in a foster home, waiting for her dad. Waiting for them. The judge called the hearing to order, her voice sharp. "Mr. Kimball Musk, this court is here to determine your fitness as a parent to Lila Musk. The state claims you're unable to provide a stable home. What do you say?" Kimball stood, his voice trembling but clear. "Your Honor, I've made mistakes. I lost my business, my home, but I love my daughter. She's my world. I'm fighting to get back on my feet. For her." Elon's chest tightened. He saw the old Kimball in that moment, the kid who'd stand up to bullies for him, who'd share his last bite of food. But the social worker stepped forward, her tone cold. "Mr. Musk has been homeless, living in his vehicle. He's shown no financial stability. Lila needs security, not promises." The words hit like a punch. Kimball's shoulders slumped, his eyes dropping to the floor. Elon's blood boiled. He stood, his voice cutting through the room. "Your Honor, my brother's not alone anymore. I'm here. I'll make sure Lila has everything she needs, housing, education, a family. We're Musks. We don't give up." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Elon Musk, your resources are noted, but this is about Mr. Kimball's ability to parent, not yours." Elon's hands clenched. He wanted to scream, to tear the room apart. He could build rockets to Mars, but he couldn't fix this? Kimball's eyes met his, filled with a desperate plea. "Don't let her go, Elon." The room spun, the weight of failure crushing him. He saw Lila's face in the photo, her purple crayon rocket, her hope in an uncle she'd never met. He saw Rosa, fighting for life in Cape Town, her last wish for them to be a family again. Failure wasn't an option. "Kimball's not a failure," Elon said, his voice steady now, fierce. "He's a father who loves his daughter. He's been through hell, but he's here, fighting, and I'm with him. We're her family. You can't take that away." The social worker opened her mouth, but a small voice cut through the room. "Daddy!" The courtroom doors swung open and Lila ran in, her dark curls bouncing, her eyes wide with hope. A foster worker chased after her, flustered. "I'm sorry, she slipped away. Lila!" Kimball dropped to his knees, arms open. She crashed into him, her small hands clutching his shirt. "I knew you'd come," she sobbed. "I knew you wouldn't leave me." Elon's throat closed. He knelt beside them, his hand on Lila's back, feeling her tremble. The judge leaned forward, her stern face softening. "Young lady, this is a courtroom. But I see your heart, and I see your father's." The room held its breath. The judge's eyes moved from Lila's tear-streaked face to Kimball's desperate. One, then to Elon, standing like a shield. "Mr. Kimball Musk," she said, "the court recognizes your efforts to rebuild. With your brother's support and a stable plan, I'm granting temporary custody, pending monthly reviews. Don't let her down." Kimball sobbed, hugging Lila tighter. Elon's knees buckled, relief flooding him like sunlight after a storm. He wrapped his arms around them both, his eyes burning. "We did it," he whispered. "We're family." The gavel struck, final and sharp. Lila looked up at Elon, her eyes bright. "Are you my Uncle Elon?" she asked, clutching her crayon drawing. "Yeah," Elon said, his voice thick. "And I'm never leaving you." As they walked out, Lila's hand in his, Kimball's arm around them, Elon felt something shift. For the first time in years, he wasn't chasing stars. He was home. The Denver sky glowed pink as the sun dipped below the mountains, casting a warm light over the small house Elon had rented for Kimball and Lila. Inside, the living room smelled of fresh paint and new beginnings. Lila's laughter echoed as she taped her purple crayon rocket drawing to the fridge, her tiny hands smudged with color. Kimball stood nearby, stirring a pot of soup, his smile soft but steady. Elon sat at the kitchen table, watching them, his heart full yet heavy. The courtroom victory was only days ago, but it felt like a lifetime. They'd won Lila back, but the journey had carved deep scars and deeper truths. Elon's fingers traced the edge of a coffee mug, its warmth grounding him. The weight of the world, SpaceX, Tesla, the endless grind, still loomed, but it felt distant now. He'd spent years chasing stars, building empires, thinking that was his legacy. But here, in this quiet house, with Lila's giggles and Kimball's soft humming, he saw it clearly. Family was the real mission. He'd almost lost it, too caught up in his own orbit to notice Kimball slipping away, Lila waiting in the shadows, Rosa fighting alone. Kimball set the soup on the table, his eyes meeting Elon's. "You didn't have to do this," he said, gesturing to the house, the furniture, the new life. "You've already done too much." Elon shook his head, his throat tight. "I didn't do enough, not for years." He remembered the 2 a.m. call, Kimball's broken voice, the truck in the snowy lot. He'd been a brother in name only, too busy to see the cracks. "I'm sorry, Kimball. I should have been there." Kimball sat across from him, his face softer. Now, the shame fading. "You're here now. That's what matters." He reached out, squeezing Elon's hand, a gesture from their childhood when they'd faced the world together. "We're okay. Because of you." Lila climbed into Elon's lap, her small arms wrapping around him. "Uncle Elon, are you going to build me a rocket?" she asked, her eyes bright with dreams only a child could hold. Elon laughed, the sound surprising him. "Maybe a small one," he said, ruffling her hair. "But you're going to help, right?" Her nod was fierce, her smile a spark that lit something new in him, hope, pure and unfiltered. His phone buzzed, with a message from Cape Town. Rosa was out of intensive care, weak but fighting, her voice strong enough to call them her boys again. She'd meet Lila soon, a reunion that felt like a promise kept. Elon closed his eyes, letting the moment sink in. They'd almost lost everything, each other, their past, their future. But they'd fought, together, and found something stronger. A family rebuilt from the ashes of guilt and distance. For you watching, think about the people who matter most. When was the last time you checked on them, really asked how they're doing? Life moves fast, too fast sometimes. Don't let the ones you love slip away. Hit that like button if this story touched you, and share it with someone you haven't called in a while. Subscribe for more stories that remind us what's real. In the quiet of that Denver kitchen, with soup steaming and Lila's laughter filling the air, Elon Musk learned the hardest truth of all. No empire shines brighter than the ones we hold close.